Hey guys, it's Kane here. I've been looking through the web and I found I couldn't find a video that properly went over the differences between D&D 5th edition and D&D 3.5. Um, Obviously the biggest difference is the covers of the books. You know, D&D 3.5 has hundreds of supplement books that have been written by other authors, crap loads of stuff. 5th edition, as of right now, the only official books are the 3 core rule books and then a couple of the supplements made by Wizards of the Coast. They did just release their DM's Guild online thing that allows essentially to open source everything. As far as mechanics go, there's a lot less math number crunchy in 5th edition than there is 3.5. With that being said, it's 5th edition resorts more or resembles closer to 1st edition, 2nd edition, where there's very minimal math you have to apply to it. For example, biggest thing that I noticed is skills. This is a 3.5 character sheet. This entire column is skills for 3.5. You have your ability modifier, your racial modifier, all that kind of stuff. There's like 30 some skills. For 5th edition, this is your skills. You apply your ability modifier, and if you're proficient in it, that's it. And it does not go up every level. With 3.5, every level you get so many skill points based on your intelligence modifier. So you can end up at level 6, have a 20 in a hide or something like that. Whereas with 5th edition, it's at 5th level, the most you're probably going to have is +6 or +7, depending on if you have proficiency in it or not. So it keeps the number modifiers low, so that when you start to get higher levels, it's not 1d20 plus 37. It's still 1d20 plus 8. So the DCs are a lot smaller. It makes it easier for the DMs to kind of balance things out. Ability scores are still the same. Armor class for the most part is still the same. As far as saving throws, they don't really have the typical, fortitude, reflex, and will, the 3 standards of 3.5. They actually expanded that to where they have saving throws that match your abilities. So a reflex would be dexterity, a constitution would probably be like a fortitude save, so on and so forth. So this way you have a more broad range of saving throws you can do. Another aspect of 5th edition that 3.5 didn't have is the inspiration section. You can, there's 2 ways to get inspiration. Is through a bard. Bard can give somebody bardic inspiration. Inspiration is simply 1d8 that you can add to essentially any roll. But the biggest thing is with DMs can now award inspiration. It's built into the game itself, into the mechanics, as opposed to someone being like, you know what, you did a really good job. I'm gonna try to give you something. This way, it's like, you know what, someone did a good job. We already have a way that you can reward them. They added a bunch of things to 5th edition. Not a bunch of things, but they added a feature called backgrounds. It's one of the steps of character creation. It helps like flesh out the role play aspect of your character. So it's not just straight numbers and crunches and stats. There's actually you have to think about what your character did before they became an adventurer. But it gives you some bonuses, some proficiencies and skills. It might give you some weapons and some money. They didn't do away with the feat system, but they changed it. In 3.5, feat was a requirement of character creation. You got so many feats every level. With 5th edition, and it's all up to your DM. Feats only come in whenever you get the chance for an ability upgrade. So at 4th level, 8th level, 12th level, instead of upgrading, like let's say dexterity or whatever, instead of upgrading one of your abilities, you can forfeit that and then take a feat. The feats, it's a different list of feats. It's a much smaller list. I haven't had a whole lot of experience. I know the one that I was looking at for one of my fighters, before I found out about the Eldritch Knight route. It's called the Acolyte or Mage Adept or something like that. But it allows a character to take 3 cantrips and then 1 level 1 spell from any spellcasting class. So that was going to help out a lot. As far as the mechanics of it, the way that the game flows is still basically the same thing. I mean, it's a D&D game. DM tells a story. Hero's like, oh, I want to do this. DM's like, okay, roll this. Same concept, just a lot less math, a lot less numbers to factor in. I will be honest, it is a lot easier to pick up than 3.5 because of the sheer amount of math. It's a lot easier to explain. And it's also newer. Because there is so few source books right now. It kind of gives a little more room for leeway as far as DMs are concerned. But from a player perspective, the mechanics system is, I mean, you can just tell by looking at the 2 sheets. It's kind of dropped down. 5th edition focuses more on roleplay as opposed to the actual, like, straight up combat. Yes, there is combat. I've been through a lot of combat. 5th edition is also a lot less, I don't want to say friendly. They're more punishing to the stupid players. Like, there was one game that I decided to try to dive off a building, Assassin's Creed style, land into a bucket or in a crate of hay. Well, I horribly failed my dexterity roll and I almost died. I killed 2 civilians along with me. Ended up getting the town guards called on me. So, the spells, the way that spellcasting works, it's similar, but it's different at the same time. Spell with like wizards, you still get so many spells per level, all that same stuff. Bonus spells if you have a high intelligence or whatever. But they also have more so like with sorcerers and stuff. You have spell slots, so like you will have, let's say you know at first level you know 7 first level spells, whatever. But you may only have 3 first level spell slots. So you can cast 1 spell 3 times, but then you're done. And then you can give up spell slots in order to, like, you can spend a 2nd level spell slot to cast a 1st level spell, but it'll be stronger. I don't think that, I'm pretty sure that's not how they did it in 3.5. 3.5 was like, oh, you have so many spells per day, you have, you can choose from this list, and so on and so forth. But yeah, so that's basically, I mean, for the most part, everything's the same. They did add new classes. They did add new, or they changed the classes up a little bit. They added more races to the player's handbook. They have a broader spectrum. They did change the racial modifiers and such. But for the most part, guys, that's about it. D&D 5th edition is definitely a lot easier to pick up from the go. It's a lot easier to get your hands on, get controlled, feel like you know what you're doing. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, leave it in the comments, hit me up, whatever. Thanks.